Hey everyone! So I know I talk incessantly about my book 14 Stones, and I'm talking about it a little bit more today, but we're headed into the last week of our crowdfunder to support the first print run. And starting this week, starting on Tuesday, we are having an online launch party, which is going to be pretty cool. Some special giveaways and sneak previews and stuff. So I've put the link to that in the comments. If you want to check that out, that would be awesome. But as we're getting close to launch, which is just such a wild concept to me, thinking about this book really being out there, I've been trying to think about what would I love most to share about it, and what it was like to write it. And it's really tough to kind of distill that experience into a couple minutes for the sake of a video. Um, Writing this book was just incredibly special for me. It changed, in some ways, it changed the focus of the writing that I do. It got me into playing around with fantasy and magic, which have now become, I think for me, sort of essential parts of my writing. I kind of try to put a magical twist in everything I do, and a lot of that has to do with what I did with 14 Stones. The whole idea of creating a fictional world and just making up everything from scratch was new to me back then, and it was so much fun that it sort of got me thinking in a different direction about my own work. Um, but what I really loved about writing this story was creating that fictional world, creating a space that had a lot of room for beauty. I tend to like books that are kind of quiet and thoughtful, people being people and kind of figuring out how to be with one another, how to connect with one another. And so that was a huge piece of the writing in 14 Stones. It's hard for me to write villains. I did that some, but I felt like even the people who were the most challenging deserved a chance to kind of redeem themselves. And so it was kind of fun to think of my characters as very human, even though they were part of this created world, and that everybody has the opportunity to choose differently, to choose to change if they want to. So the beauty and the connections between people and just dealing with people as real human beings, all of that was just super rewarding. I ended up working with characters that I really loved, and got to know really well. And it was a pretty long process from the very first version of this book that I wrote in 2015, and it was terrible. And then I came back to it in 2018, and did a really thorough rewrite, and that's what eventually became 14 Stones. But working with it was really magical for me, and it was just an awesome experience. And so I'm hoping I captured some of that in the writing, and that if you read it, you might get a taste of some of that as well. Getting to spend time in that world with those people was for me a real gift, and it was something that just gave me a lot of joy. And so I'm hoping that sharing it can also spread a little bit of that joy, and a little bit of what I experienced when I was writing it. And I also think it's a pretty good story. It has a lot going on. So I think it can be pretty exciting and fun, and just a good read. So I do hope that you can check it out. Check out our launch party events. Check out the Pledge Me campaign if you would like to order your own print or e-copy between now and the end of the month. And we hope we'll see you online next week. Thanks so much for listening.